Welcome back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. And I'm always intrigued by technology, and I see Emily has a smartwatch, but it's not an Apple Watch.
No, it's a Samsung. I'm a Samsung user.
A who? A what?
Samsung. Yeah. Sorry.
Apple here.
I know. My husband has an Apple, and he's tried to convert me, and I'm like, you can't. I'm sorry. Too stubborn.
Too stubborn, huh? So I know Joby is an Android person, and I remember one time, I'm being an idiot and talking about my Apple Watch to somebody that obviously doesn't care. And I was like, I can get messages on my watch. And he's like, well, I can't on mine. He's like, I can take phone calls on mine. Well, I can on mine. I said, yeah, but can you if you're like out in the middle of the lake? Yeah.
Does he want to out in the middle of the lake, though?
Well, pretty much everything that I was sitting there saying that the Apple Watch could do, he was telling me that his Samsung Watch could do. And then I didn't believe him, so then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, I guess they can do all that. So sometimes you fall into the walled garden that is the Apple ecosystem, and you just don't think there's anything else out there. And so yes, I'm deeply planted into the Apple ecosystem. Matter of fact, we went to Albuquerque here a few weeks ago because they've discontinued the HomePod, which was their big smart speaker. And they have the HomePod Mini, which is the little one, but I like the sound of the big one, and I knew that they were running out. They didn't make any more, and once they're gone, they're gone. You can't buy them online. They're not. And we found out there were a couple in Albuquerque, and we made a trip just to Albuquerque just so we could get a couple of HomePods before they disappeared. And I have one in my office now, and I had to, of course, I don't have a Mac in my office. I have a PC. Well, how do I get a PC to work with a Apple speaker? And there was a $16 app that I bought and installed on the Windows PC, and now my Windows PC works with the Apple smart speaker. So
I didn't know you could do that. That's cool.
I found out that you could do that. So anyway, we are talking with Emily Dunnahoo and Jeremiah Mendoza, who are with Changing Lives Coalition. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're so glad you're here. And both of you are intervention specialists. And what we wanted to do is take a little bit of time this morning and just kind of bring everybody up to speed on what's been happening with the Changing Lives Coalition. I know that COVID hit and you shut down the schools, and that was a big part of the Changing Lives Coalition function, was to work in the schools. So where do we want to start? We want to just start like what it is right now and go from there? Where would you like to start?
Well, we were all new staff in October, so still mid of the pandemic, So instead of going into the schools, we started a new program. Do you want to talk about it? Yeah.
Yes. We started Project Hope, which we started totally new staff. So talking about, we went into a hard situation, kind of we transitioned. And what we did is we got kids that it was, you could say, like an alternative to school, you could say. And what it was is from about, sometimes 8 to 3, 8 to 3:20, or sometimes earlier, we would have them, we would work on them with their homework. We would help them with, just their day-to-day activities, just to get them going, on the right direction. And we got a lot of rave reviews for Project Hope. So
because these are kids at the time, this is October of last year, so
Yes.
these are kids that can't come to school. They're having to stay at home. And how many parents have we all talked to that just talked about how difficult it was to keep the kids motivated just to open up the laptop and get online every day?
And in the beginning, it was tough, but just them being around other kids in another environment away from home, they started to love it. A lot of them were like, I don't want to go back to school. I love it here. And I was like, no, you need to be in school.
Yeah, it gave them a different environment, like I'd say a school environment, but also I think it was more like hands-on, hands-on approach, because most of these kids, they need one-on-one help.
Yeah.
So I think we really demonstrated, that maybe they go back to school and maybe they ask these questions that they asked us.
Yes.
So it was really, I think it was really successful for
And the
us.
teachers worked with us so well. Oh my goodness. I had Miss Martinez from Yeso and Miss Parker from Hermosa. They were so awesome. They'd help me. They would text me and be like, hey, they need this, this, and this done. They worked so well with us. That was something I could not get over, how well the teachers worked with these kids during COVID.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of these kids probably weren't the best at the online learning? They actually
No.
needed the additional help?
We
Yes,
took
sir.
students with mainly all Fs. That was the requirement to make it into Project Hope.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
All F's.
All F's.
we saw some go to straight
I wasn't
As.
even that bad. Yeah.
It was wild. There was some crazy GPAs out there. I mean, but I think we gave them a platform. If their grades went up, but also they learned how to deal with the online platform. Also with going back to learning how to be in person, which
The
is
confidence,
important. The
definitely.
confidence,
Yeah.
yes, it was very important.
Because after the first of the year, then kids started to go back to school. Initially, a couple of days a week. Did you continue the Project Hope program through that school year?
Do the hybrid, yes. That gave us the opportunity too to take in more children because the other kids were off at school. So we started out with 5 each for the 3 intervention specialists, so we had 15. And then we opened those doors up to another 15, so we had almost 30 altogether. So,
Yes.
Not on the same day.
no.
No, no.
No, we stuck to guidelines. We did not want to get in trouble and have to shut down because those kids, they loved it there. They
It was
loved
about.
getting
It was
away
like a
from
5-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
That's what we used. So it abided by the rules. So we,
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. So it was very. I think it was influential for the community. I think.
Now, once the kids went back into school full time, what did the Project Hope turn into at that point in time?
It is still transforming right now. We're still trying to figure out what we can do for that because we also did JJAC like Changing Life used to do, go into school and do mentoring. And we started trying to work on that with the schools, but it was kind of difficult because we couldn't separate pods in the schools. And so some schools worked with us and made sure we could get in and still do some of that mentoring, which was definitely needed after COVID. There was so much anxiety in the schools. There was no confidence in children. They didn't want to be there. COVID just ruined our children when it came to that.
Yeah, we're
Yes,
still working on that now because people like our superintendent and other superintendents are fighting like crazy just to not have shutdowns to
keep going.
keep the kids in school. Well, let's talk about your backgrounds, Jeremiah. Where are you from? Where did you go to school?
Oh, I'm a homegrown boy. I'm from Artesia, New Mexico. I played football here. I have a lineage of brothers that played football here. It's just like a family thing. And also went to New Mexico State and also graduated from Eastern New Mexico University. So,
Okay, so you
yes, sir.
went to NMSU.
Yes, sir. And then transferred
To Eastern.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. How many times did your major change? Once or twice, right?
About probably 3 times, honestly. And I thought that was pushing it. So, yes, sir.
So what did you wind up graduating with a degree?
I have a history degree.
A history
yes, sir.
degree?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Mhm.
What do you have a family?
Like a wife and kids.
I mean, I know you got
No, I
brothers.
don't. I mainly just I don't have no kids. I'm pretty much a loner.
Okay.
That's fine.
But I'm not. But I have a lot of family, parents, brothers, nephews, nieces.
That's
So
right.
Those are my kids.
That's
pretty
right.
much.
Was the first thing that Jeremiah said when he walked in the studio was asked about the football game on Friday night. So that's
Oh,
that where the coffee was.
Yes, sir.
So, Emily, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you from Artesia?
I am from Artesia, born and raised. I was in the band, honor society, and played basketball. That's super busy during my high school years.
All right.
And then I went to NMSU for electrical engineering, then accounting, and then I graduated with a civil engineering technology degree.
Okay. So that's 3.
Yeah, I did 3 too. Yeah. I wish they would warn you. Like it's tough to figure out what you want to do with your life. And I'm not even in engineering. I cannot speak right now. Engineering anymore. So.
I was going to say, because that sounds like you were going to be an electrician or something like that, or at least design electrical systems and things. And
Yeah.
And you're working at the Changing Lives Coalition.
Yeah, COVID took my job from me, so there's no more firms in Artesia, New Mexico for civil engineering. So I took a while, and being an infertile woman, it was hard for me because all I want to be is a mom. At this point, I've spent as much money and time as I did getting my degree trying to be a mom. So I told my husband, I said, I want to do this. I want to work with kids. This is kind of a passion of mine. And he said, all right, you do you.
Yeah. So have both of you had gone back for continuing education or training for this specific position that you have now?
We did have to get
Yes.
trained in the curriculum. Yes.
Yes, we
Took
did.
classes for that.
Okay. Was that online classes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. October, Zoom. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's in all walks of life on those trainings.
So did you have any, what's your most interesting Zoom meeting story? I mean, we all have one. And I don't mean you specifically, or maybe you saw something that was...
Yeah. I was with one of my girls helping her with her class, trying to make sure she was paying attention. And they had it on speaker view, so whoever's speaking or making noise, that's who showed up on the screen.
Ah, okay.
Apparently, this kid picking his nose was making quite a bit of noise. And I was like, no, 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 no. And mind you, this is elementary, so they're younger. And then all of a sudden, this young man decides, I'm going to eat this. I was like, no. In front of the entire class. Poor guy. Poor guy.
No.
I have no idea what happened after that. But I was like, I did
Zooms?
not just see that. This poor kid.
What was the craziest thing you ever saw?
I don't know. It's just getting used to the Zoom. It's so different. I'm still kind of getting used to it, but I'm more used to it than I ever was.
Yeah.
The things I hear on there and the Zoom stories I've seen on YouTube, it's ridiculous.
There's some crazy stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I sit in here in a studio. I have a microphone. We have cameras in here. So if ever I have to be on a Zoom meeting, I think about that. What are they going to see in the background and all that? I understand about the mute and all, but you come across so many people the doorbell rings or the dog starts barking, and it's like, come on, man, we're having a meeting here. Be a little courteous on this. But
Yes, sir.
everybody had to go through all that. So where does one go for training to become an intervention specialist? Where do you get these your certifications from?
Changing Life pays for it, and they do it through an organization called One Circle Foundation. And usually we would be sent somewhere with, a class out of town to go do this. But with Zoom, everything was online. And there's more trainings we can do throughout that, but we just haven't gotten to that point yet because most of our time was with Project Hope, trying to get that moving. And now we're trying to get back into what Changing Life used to do.
Right. Well, that's important. And can we hold you guys over for another segment? Would that be okay?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
All right, because there's an event coming up this week, and we want to just share more with you about what Changing Lives Coalition is doing now, or getting back to the core mission when
Yes,
the
sir.
organization was created. So Jeremiah Mendoza and Emily Dunnahoo are with us, and so stick around if you can. We're going to take a break.